Have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, you're not naturally bad with money? That maybe the problem isn't lack of effort, lack of intelligence, or lack of opportunities? What if I told you there's a much bigger, much scarier possibility? You were systematically programmed since childhood to never ever get rich? I'm not talking about conspiracy theory. I'm talking about real mental programming, documented by neuroscience, transmitted from generation to generation without anyone consciously noticing. Think with me. How many times have you heard phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees? Rich people only get rich by exploiting others. We're not the type that gets rich. Or, money doesn't bring happiness? These phrases, apparently harmless, said by people who love you, are lines of code being installed in your mental operating system. And now, 20, 30, 40 years later, this code is running silently in the background, sabotaging every attempt you make to prosper. The question that should be burning in your mind right now is, if I was programmed for poverty without knowing it, how the hell do I uninstall this program and install a new one that actually works for wealth? That's exactly what we're going to discover together in the next few minutes. Let me tell you a story that will probably sound all too familiar. I grew up in a family where money was always a reason for stress, never for celebration. Every time bills arrived, the tension in the house visibly increased. My parents argued in low voices, thinking I couldn't hear, about how much was missing at the end of the month. And every time I asked for something, even small, the answer was almost always, "We don't have money for that right now." I'm not blaming my parents. They did the best they could with the mental code they themselves inherited. But here's what nobody told me at the time. Each of these experiences was literally engraving neural circuits in my developing brain. According to Carol Dweck, renowned Stanford psychologist, our brain is incredibly plastic, especially during the first 7 years of life. In this critical period, it absorbs everything around it like a sponge, without critical filter, without questioning. When a 5-year-old child repeatedly hears, "Money is hard to get," their brain doesn't think, let me critically analyze this statement. No. It simply registers it as absolute truth and builds an entire neural network based on that belief. And here's the scary part. These neural networks become the lens through which you see the financial world for the rest of your life, unless you consciously reprogram them. Let's understand how this programming mechanism works. During this phase, your brain operates predominantly in theta waves, the same brain state used in hypnosis. You're literally in a natural hypnotic state, absorbing everything without resistance. Phrases heard. We're not rich. Rich people are greedy. We have to fight hard to earn little. Behaviors observed. Parents anxious about money, discussions about bills, feeling of perpetual scarcity, emotional experiences, association between money and stress, guilt when wanting things, shame of desiring more. All of this is being recorded as fundamental truth about how the financial world works. During adolescence and early adulthood, these beliefs are reinforced by experiences you interpret through the already installed lens. If you subconsciously believe that money is hard, you'll notice all the times earning money was difficult and will ignore or minimize the times it was easy. This is called confirmation bias. Your brain seeks proof that confirms your existing beliefs. Now an adult, you don't even notice anymore that you're operating based on this old code. It simply runs automatically, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You make logical decisions about money, but you're actually executing emotional programming installed decades ago. A real example from my life. For years, every time I earned extra money, a bonus, freelance work, anything, I unconsciously found a way to spend it all quickly. An emergency would arise. A necessary expense would appear out of nowhere. I didn't understand why until I studied what T. Harv Eker calls the financial thermostat. My thermostat was calibrated to a certain income level, let's say 3,000 Rs. If I earned 5,000, my nervous system became uncomfortable with the excess and forced me back to 3,000. It wasn't lack of discipline, it was subconscious programming executing perfectly the function it was designed for, keeping me safe at the familiar level. Here's what changed everything for me. Researchers at Duke University discovered that approximately 43% of our daily actions aren't conscious decisions, they're automatic habits. 43%. Almost half your life is on autopilot. Now think, if this autopilot was programmed with scarcity beliefs, fear of wealth, association between money and stress, belief that you don't deserve abundance, financial self-sabotage patterns. Then mathematically, you're living 43% of your life actively sabotaging your own prosperity. And you don't even notice. It's like trying to drive north while 43% of your car is programmed to go south. You can press hard on the accelerator, you can have all the motivation in the world, but you'll keep going in circles. If this content is starting to connect dots you've never seen before, if you're finally understanding why you work so hard but never get anywhere financially, like this video right now, write "awakening" in the comments and follow the channel for more content that literally reprograms your mind. Now that you understand how mental programming works, let's identify the 5 most destructive programs that are probably running in your subconscious right now. This belief, often coming from distorted religious interpretations, creates a subconscious association between prosperity and immorality. If deep in your psyche you believe that rich people are morally corrupt, your brain will actively sabotage you whenever you start to get rich. Why? Because you're a good person, and good people can't be rich. It's a perfect self-sabotage program. The truth nobody told you, the actual biblical phrase is, "The love of money is the root of all evil," not money itself. But this distortion has been propagated for generations, creating guilt around prosperity. This is perhaps the most insidious because it defines your identity. If your family was always middle class, if you grew up hearing, "We're honest working people," with the subliminal implication that rich people aren't, then getting rich literally means betraying your tribe, your identity, your roots. Your primitive brain is programmed for tribal belonging above all else. If getting rich means losing your tribe, your nervous system will choose the tribe every time. I lived this. For a long time, I subconsciously sabotaged my financial growth because there was a deep belief that people from my background don't get rich. And whenever I started earning more, I felt an inexplicable guilt, as if I were abandoning my family, my roots. It was only when I consciously reprogrammed this belief, understanding that my prosperity doesn't diminish anyone, that it actually allows me to help more people, that I managed to break this pattern. Technically true, but functionally destructive. Yes, studies show that after a certain point of basic comfort, about $75,000 annually according to Princeton research, more money doesn't significantly increase daily happiness. But here's what this program does in your subconscious. It creates the belief that pursuing money is pursuing something that won't satisfy you anyway. So why try? It's a program that generates financial apathy disguised as spiritual wisdom. The correct reframing. Money doesn't bring happiness, but lack of it brings a lot of unhappiness and stress. And having enough money gives me freedom to pursue what really brings me happiness without the constant anxiety of survival. This program comes from the industrial era. Work hard in a factory for long hours and receive a modest salary. The problem? We're in the information age. Value is no longer measured in hours worked, but in problem solved, in impact created, in value generated. But if you were programmed with grind hard, shelter little money, then subconsciously you associate easy work with little value, feel guilty when you earn money easily, sabotage high earning opportunities with little effort because you're not grinding enough. I spent years unconsciously refusing lucrative opportunities because they seemed too easy. My brain was programmed to believe that money is only legitimate if it comes with suffering. This one is particularly dangerous because it disguises itself as self-awareness. Oh, I know I'm not good with money. It's just who I am. No, it's not who you are. It's the result of programming and lack of financial education. But when you treat it as immutable identity, you completely remove any possibility of change. Carol Dweck calls this fixed mindset, the belief that your capabilities are unchangeable. And she proved that people with fixed mindset stagnate, while people with growth mindset, who believe capabilities can be developed, evolve exponentially. Here's what finally freed me. None of these programs are you. They're just software installed without your permission when you were too young to choose. And like any software, they can be uninstalled and replaced. But first, you need to brutally admit which of these programs are running in you right now. So do this. Get paper and pen, seriously pause the video, and honestly write which of these 5 programs you recognize in yourself. Without judgment, just recognition. Because what you don't name, you can't change. Now that you've identified the destructive programs, let's get to the reprogramming process. And warning, this isn't instant magic. It's applied science that requires consistency. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the most successful men in America, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and discovered a pattern. They all had what he called burning desire. But it wasn't just emotional desire, it was something deeper. The ability to maintain a clear and intense mental image of what they wanted, even when all external evidence contradicted it. Today, we know why this works. Neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewires circuits based on what you think repeatedly with emotional intensity. Neurons that fire together, wire together. This is basic neuroscience. When you visualize wealth with vivid sensory details and intense emotion, you're literally building new neural circuits. With enough repetition, these new circuits become stronger than the old ones. Every day, for 90 consecutive days, not 21, not 30, 90, you will handwrite 3 identity declarations. I am someone who naturally attracts financial abundance. I am someone who creates immense value and is generously rewarded. I am someone who manages money with wisdom and intelligence. Why by hand? Because the physical act of writing engages more brain areas than typing. Why 90 days? Because research shows that deep identity changes take 66 to 90 days of consistent repetition. But here's the secret most people get wrong. You can't just write mechanically. You need to read each declaration aloud after writing. Feel the emotion of that identity. Visualize a specific scene of you living that identity for 60 seconds. This isn't superficial positive affirmation. It's structured neural reprogramming. Your brain is a pattern-seeking machine. If you consciously collect proof of your new identity, your brain starts noticing more proof. Create a physical notebook called Evidence File of My Prosperity. Every day, write at least 3 things. 1 smart financial decision you made, even small. 1 moment where you felt abundance instead of scarcity. Any money that came in, from any source, any amount, seems silly? It's not. You're training your reticular activating system, the brain filter that determines what you notice, to focus on prosperity. After 6 months doing this, you'll have a notebook full of irrefutable proof that you're becoming a different person financially. And this concrete proof silences that voice of doubt. Here's a powerful technique few people know. Reprogramming during the hypnagogic state, those minutes while you're falling asleep. In this state, your brain is in alpha-theta waves, the same state as children when they absorb programming. You're highly receptive. Protocol. Lie in bed, lights off, ready to sleep. Completely relax your body. For 10 minutes, visualize detailed scenes of you living with abundance. See your bank account, feel the emotion, hear conversations about your successes. Allow yourself to fall asleep while still in this visualization. Your subconscious will process this during sleep. Do this every night for 90 days and watch your dreams change. Your automatic thoughts change, your actions change. Remember T. Harv Eker's financial thermostat? Here's how to recalibrate it. Every week, choose a specific number, let's say 20% above your current average income. During the week, whenever you think about money, visualize this number as normal for you. Visualize your account with this amount. Feel what it would be like to naturally have this amount. You're consciously adjusting the thermostat 1 step at a time. Why not jump straight to $1 million? Because your nervous system would reject it as absurdly unreal. But 20% more? That's plausible enough for the subconscious to accept. After this level becomes your new normal, usually 6 to 8 weeks. Increase another 20%. Continue this process. Many people do all this for 3-4 days and then stop because it's not working. You're trying to reverse decades of programming. This doesn't happen in 72 hours. Neuroplasticity requires 2 absolute things. 1. Consistent repetition. 2. Sufficient time, minimum 60 days, ideal 90. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, showed that behavior changes take an average of 66 days to become automatic, and identity changes, which are deeper, take even longer. You need to commit to 90 days of non-negotiable daily practice. No exceptions. No days off, because every day you skip, you reinforce the old program. So here we are. You now understand something that 95% of people will never understand. You're not naturally bad with money. You were programmed to be bad with money. But programming can be changed. Code can be rewritten. Circuits can be rewired. The question is, will you do the work? Because I can give you all the techniques in the world, and I just did. But if you don't apply them consistently for 90 days, nothing changes. Knowledge without application is just intellectual entertainment. So here's your commitment right now. Go to the comments and declare, "I begin my mental reprogramming today." For the next 90 days, I will choose one specific technique you will do daily. Be specific. Nothing like, "I'll try to improve." Declare a concrete action. And if you're serious about this transformation, 3 things before you close this video. Like this video now so that more people programmed for poverty find this information. Subscribe to the channel because video 2 of this series will teach you how to break financial procrastination and build unstoppable momentum. You won't want to miss it. Get paper and pen now, not later, and write the 5 destructive programs you identified in yourself. Name them, because what you don't name, you can't eliminate. One last thing before you go. For years, I operated with the wrong code. I worked hard, did everything right, but stayed stuck in the same financial place. Not because I was lazy or stupid, but because 43% of my actions were controlled by programming I didn't even know existed. When I finally reprogrammed, line by line, day after day, with the exact techniques I just shared, everything changed. Not overnight, but consistently, measurably, irreversibly. And if it worked for me, for hundreds of people I've taught these principles, it will work for you. But only if you start. Today. Now. In the next video, we'll dive into how to create your prosperity system, the external architecture that supports your internal reprogramming. You'll learn how prosperous people structure their day, their resources, their decisions. But for now, remember this truth. You weren't programmed to fail because the universe hates you. You were programmed to fail because the people who programmed you were running the same broken code. But today, the code changes. Today, the reprogramming begins. See you in the next video, where the transformation deepens.